this is Vivica from the Nourish Caveman and the Healing Foods Method, and I'm here live from the bathroom. I think it's a perfect place to talk about today's topic, which is poop. Yes, we are going to talk poop today. This came about as usual in one of my work days. My fun work days with my patients, where we have this kind of fun conversations, because this past week has been the main topic of conversations with most of my patients has been their poop. And you will say, oh, but this is a keto site and I came here for recipes and I don't want to hear about poop because, you know, I just came here to get some yummy recipes that are keto. How is this part of, you know, doing ketogenic? What does poop have to do with it? Well, poop has to do with everything, especially with your health. Just like the reason why you want to do a ketogenic diet is your health, or at least hopefully should be your health. So poop is a big part of your health because it can tell us a lot of what's going on and what's not working. So I have actually received an email from one of my clients who's in the middle of a detox, and she had done a coffee enema, and she's writing me about the results. So warning, this is gonna get a little graphic here, so if you guys are squeamish or you know you don't want to talk about subjects of health, then you should stop watching right now, because I'm about to read you that email and the content. But those of you who want to stick around and you know, understand more about the physiology of your body and the body's processes and how we can heal, understanding a more holistic picture of our body, then please do stick around and learn. You know, this is about health. This is about holistic lifestyles. It's about keto paleo as well, because the keto paleo food that goes in this side comes out the other side. And yes, it can tell us a lot, especially when you're new to keto, or if you're just not having the best experience with your bowel movements, which I think, considering how high are laxatives in the drugs sold in the United States. And I periodically look at these drug polls, what's the most popular drugs sold in the United States, to understand what kind of problems are people facing out there. And it's very insightful about what is it that are people dealing with. So let's jump into this email. We're gonna leave the recipient undisclosed. I mean, the recipient was me, the sender undisclosed. So she writes, so the enema went much better this time. It's her second one. I used 2 cups instead of 4. I got half in and rested for a few minutes, then did the remaining. I think I need to keep the enema bag higher because the last little bit of liquid I couldn't get in. Anyway, so when I got in the remaining liquid, I was able to lay there for 10 minutes. Then I got up and evacuated. So much stuff came out. Goodness. Exclamation marks. It was a lot of stuff. There was a green tint to everything and lots of little bits. Some looked like pieces of chopped spinach or chopped up green. Then there were little small hard dots. I couldn't tell if they were really dark green or black. They were just dark. So that is definitely a big visual there, but where is the importance of this content? Why is this so important? Because it tells me that what we did right there is we flushed her liver. And in her liver, there was a lot of bile stuck in there. And some of that bile had already hardened to form clumps. So guess what? When somebody has a gallbladder surgery, and so many people already come to me without a gallbladder, if you're ever experiencing any gallbladder problems or liver issues, congested liver, well, those little dots of hard congealed bile is what we flush out with a coffee enema during the detox. Now, what would happen if we don't flush them out? Most likely, eventually, they'll turn into gallstones. And all that hard, sluggish, condensed bile will like congest your gallbladder and solidify into gallstone and calcify, that's kind of the word, calcify into what is a gallstone. So why is this important? Is because we flush that stuff out through the liver, through an enema, so that now what's going to happen is that with the slow patient work, the gallbladder is going to start working again, the bile is going to fluidify, and you're not ever going to get the risk of getting gallstones. In this case, my patient, this is kind of work that I did on myself many years ago when I had gallbladder disease. I started doing a detox, and part of that detox were coffee enemas. I would not recommend doing coffee enemas outside the context of a detox, because you need to prep for this. This is not the kind of work that I could do cold turkey with people. We've been prepping for about a month for this, but as you can see, it has worked really well, because what needed to come out of her liver came out, and it came out in her stool, in her bowel movement with the enema, and she could actually see it. And this is when we do things right. So, you know, it was very insightful, and she would have missed it if I didn't tell her, look at your poop, look at what comes out of the enema. And even if you don't do a coffee enema, even if you're not doing a detox, let me give you a couple of tips. Like, why is it important to be mindful of what comes out of your bowel, in your bowel movement, and have a look at your bowel movement every day as a kind of check mark of like, how am I doing on the inside? There is a lot of talk about gut issues, and I just got trained. I just took 2 classes in the last month about an extensive gut panel that I'm doing through one of the companies that I do all the blood work and all the tests, and they have this new super extensive gut panel that tests for all the dysbiosis, so all the gut bacteria. You guys might know Viome is one of the companies that checks gut bacteria. This panel is better than the Viome panel, because Viome really, they try to keep you dependent on them, so they don't disclose all the results. They just give you kind of recommendations, and I don't like that, because I'm a practitioner, so I want to know what came out of the test. So the company that I use, actually, it's a practitioner's report, so I get to see all the different bacteria, good and bad, commensal bacteria, beneficial bacteria, or possible parasitic infections, so parasites in the gut. We get to see yeast, we get to see candida, like really interesting panel. But yeah, so I did this training and I took the class, and it's been like talking about bowel movements, how they should look, what we can see, and you know, all the different dysfunctions of the gut. So I've been paying extra attention to that, and also realized in my practice how important gut function, proper gut function, is for your health. It is the foundation. And doing a ketogenic diet, how that ties in is that we do a ketogenic diet is an elimination diet. So you guys start eliminating a lot of foods that probably you have sensitivities to. So it's a really good way to start. It's an elimination diet. But when you have a seriously compromised microbiome, or your gut function is compromised, which is very common here in America, you know, because of all the disinfectants and all the antibiotics and all the heavy metals, all those things are really damaging to your gut. So many people now have problems, and the problems will show like, you know, constipation, diarrhea, IBS, bloating, inability to digest carbohydrates, especially fiber. So many people are fiber intolerant in my practice. And also, guess what? The gut affects your brain, affects your mood, and affects your cognitive abilities. So this big connection with the gut, with everything. And oh, wait, forget a big one here. The gut affects your thyroid, and it's a really big deal, because like I spoke about it. Jimmy Moore just published on Living La Vida Low Carb yesterday or the day before. He published my talk for the Keto Cruise, which was about conversion. thyroid hormone conversion. And I just remembered about that topic that's so important. But guess where is one of the main places that we convert thyroid hormones is in the gut and in the liver. And those are both things we address during a detox. And there is all this talk out there in the nutrition world about the gut and how to fix it. And so I definitely think that a ketogenic diet is a number one step. A keto paleo, high nutrient keto paleo diet like I do it. Not all keto is created equal. So let's get back to poop and having a look at your poop. This is where the fun begins. So what can we tell from our poop? Well, first of all, the first thing you should look at is there bits and pieces of food in there that are not being digested. That's a really important thing, because if you are passing through certain foods, not even breaking them down at all, that's a big sign that your digestion is compromised. And number two is that you're not absorbing nutrients. And number three is that you might have a sensitivity to that food. So looking in your bowel movement and seeing if there are little pieces here and there, that tells us what kind of foods are coming straight through. And it's very important, because that's the first sign that will tell you if your digestion is not working properly. So alert, red flag right there. The other thing is, you can tell if your poop looks like rabbit pellets and they're dry and they're floating, that means you're dehydrated. It also could mean that you either are getting too much fiber or not enough fiber. And this is another interesting thing. People normally tell you, if you go to the doctor and you're constipated, the doctor will tell you you need more fiber. Well, guess what? About 50% of my patients are fiber intolerant. That means that the more fiber they eat, the worse they get, and the more constipated they will get, or they will have reactions like violent diarrhea. I have patients that cannot even eat lettuce and they will get violent diarrhea. So those are things to keep in mind. Of course, when you have symptoms like IBS and then you will go back and forth between constipation and diarrhea, then we know that there is a problem with your bowel. Now, that problem specifically, where do these issues come? I mentioned it quickly before, but bowel gut issues can come from different sources, different root causes. And that's where I always go in my work. I go look at root causes and try to resolve them. So it could be something like heavy metals. That's straight from the beginning. And you can even have inherited those heavy metals from your mother in utero. It's very possible. Or as an early, a young kid, you can have absorb them from the environment. Another thing that comes as a young kid, very prevalent, is antibiotics. Antibiotics in the first 2 years of age will wipe out your natural microbiome, and it will impair it for the rest of your life. So there is going to have to be a lot of repair work done, and it will never be exactly the same, unfortunately, because the microbiome really solidifies in the first 2 years of life. So for all of you who are watching who have kids, it's really important that your kids play in the dirt and get in contact with animals and get in contact with different sources of microbes so they can develop a strong gut flora and a strong immune system. Now, this is a bit of another conversation. So back to disruptors. Of course, then there are molds and yeast, and there is parasites, which is way more common than we believe it to be. In the United States, 1 out of 3 people has undetected parasites. And I was just, my friend last night, she was like, you had to listen to this podcast because this woman was talking about the best thing that happened in her life was being diagnosed with parasites. And after cleaning up from parasites, she was a completely different person. Why? Because they imbalance your gut. Your gut is related to your brain, to your thyroid, and off we go. Same topic here. So, I think we talk a good amount of poop here. I see there are some of you watching. Do you have any questions for me? And I know that this was a kind of a last minute video, but I just you know, I wanted to get it out there, and you know, I wanted to talk about this really important topic. So if you guys are not catching the video live, you can still ask questions. I will post it on Facebook, I will post it on YouTube. So please just post a question and I will get it and I can reply. But any of you watching have any questions about the poop subject, and are you having good bowel movements? I can hear the watchers thinking like, oh no, don't ask me, I'm not going to talk in public about my poop. It's fine if you don't. And you can also just message me through the Nourish Caveman page. If you have questions, I'm happy to share my knowledge, give you feedback. And this is the work that I do in my practice. I'm a holistic practitioner, and I help people get better from a number of things. Pretty much everything that I can help with, I will try to help with. So any of you are interested in the gut panels, you can also reach out to me. I can prescribe like a comprehensive gut panel analysis for you and give you feedback and let you know a course of action of treatment and what's going on in your gut. Think about it, look in there. Thank you, Cynthia. Yeah, Cynthia has been on the detox now for 2 weeks, and she's part of the group with the other lady that sent me the email, one of the ladies in the group. So this is beyond detoxing, is like gut health is extremely important. But you guys, thank you for watching, thank you for following me. You can catch all those live videos on YouTube. They're all in a nice little collection together, so we have a variety of topics. I try to cover a number of things that I encounter in real life with real patients in a real clinical practice, so they can give you insights for your life, for your keto paleo lifestyle, for your health. Thank you for watching, thank you for following me, and we will catch you here on Facebook Live. Have a wonderful weekend, by the way.